I had always prided myself on being a straightforward guy, the kind who follows the rules because they're there for a reason. My name is Alex Rivera, and I'm a state trooper in a quiet corner of Arizona, where the desert stretches out like an endless canvas of red dirt and stubborn cacti. I've spent 15 years patrolling highways, pulling over speeders, helping stranded motorists, and occasionally dealing with the real bad apples, the drug runners and the reckless drunks. But nothing prepared me for the nightmare that unfolded in my own backyard, in the gated community of Sunset Ridge Estates. It started innocently enough, or so I thought. One crisp morning, as the sun was just peeking over the horizon, I was heading out in my old reliable pickup truck, a 12 Chevy Silverado that's seen more miles than most marriages last. I was off duty, dressed in civilian clothes, a faded flannel shirt and jeans, sipping my black coffee from a thermos, thinking about the day ahead. My wife, Maria, a sharp-minded paralegal, had already left for work, and our daughter, Sophia, was at school. The highway outside our community, Route 89, was my domain during shifts, but that day, it became a battleground. As I merged onto the road, blue and red lights flashed in my rearview mirror. Not the crisp, authoritative strobes of a police cruiser, but something cheaper, more makeshift. I glanced back and saw a black sedan with Sunset Ridge Security emblazoned on the side, a light bar that looked like it was bought from a discount catalog. I checked my speed, 58 and a 60. Seatbelt on, tags current, no infractions. My cop instincts kicked in. Something felt off. I pulled over onto the shoulder, the gravel crunching under my tires like brittle bones. The engine ticked as I shut it off, and I waited, hand casually near my off-duty holster hidden under my shirt. Out stepped a man I recognized immediately, Victor Hale, a former colleague from my early days in the force. He'd been a beat cop but got booted for misconduct, roughing up suspects, planting evidence, the works. I was the one who testified against him in the internal review. Now here he was, playing rent-a-cop for the HOA, puffed up in a tactical vest that screamed overcompensation. His partner, a twitchy kid barely out of his teens, hung back with a notepad. Hale sauntered up, hand on a stun gun, smirking like he'd won the lotto. "Well, if it isn't Trooper Rivera," he drawled, peering through my half-rolled window. "You're a bit outside your sandbox, aren't you?" I kept my cool, sipping my coffee. "Morning, Victor. This is a state highway. Your jurisdiction ends at the gate," he chuckled, a raspy sound like sandpaper on wood. "Not anymore. We've got a new deal with the county commissioner. Your truck's got a dent on the fender, violates community aesthetics. That's a fine payable now." I glanced at the tiny scratch from a grocery cart mishap. "Ridiculous," the kid piped up. "Per Resolution 412, we're authorized to enforce on access roads." This was bluffing at its finest. HOAs can't pull traffic stops on public roads. But Hale was pushing, testing how far he could go. He demanded I pay $200 on the spot or they'd boot my truck. I refused, citing state law. His eyes narrowed, that old anger flaring. "Fine, we'll immobilize it." The kid slapped a boot on my wheel right there on the highway as semis roared past. Hale mentioned knowing my schedule, hinting at Sophia's school pickup. That crossed a line, personal. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. Under the dash, my hidden cam, installed after a previous close call, captured everything. As they drove off, leaving me stranded, I called Maria. "We've got a problem," I said. She was already digging into records. This wasn't just Hale. It was a syndicate. The HOA president, Elena Voss, a slick real estate mogul, had ties to Commissioner Lang, who pushed through vague ordinances giving private security pseudo-police powers. Their towing partner, a sleaze named Marco's Impound, profited from every boot and tow. It was extortion wrapped in bureaucracy. I hitched a ride home, fuming. That night, harassment began. A spotlight blasting through our windows, a drone buzzing our backyard, filming us. Maria closed the blinds, but the invasion stung. Our neighbor, Mrs. Patel, a retired teacher with a spine of steel, whispered over the fence, "They're doing this to everyone who complains." We decided to fight back. Maria filed FOIA requests, uncovering emails showing Voss promising Lang debt relief for the ordinance. I visited Marco's yard undercover, posing as a mechanic needing parts. Snapped photos of towed vehicles from our neighbors, perfectly fine cars hit with bogus fines. The log sheet listed violations like unauthorized color or visible wear. It was a racket. Back home, we compiled evidence, but they escalated. One night, I caught Hale sneaking into my truck on cam, planting what looked like meth. Frame job. I left it, called a trusted contact in state police. But when I reported it locally, the deputy, Lang's nephew, stonewalled me. "Jurisdictional issue," he said. Betrayal hit hard. Maria and I realized the corruption ran deep. We prepared for war. The HOA announced a compliance audit, a sweep to tow non-compliant vehicles. A tip from an inside source. Single entry point. Spike strips ready. We rallied neighbors quietly. The day came. I drove toward the blockade, pole in hand for the spikes. As they deployed, I hooked and flipped it with help from Mrs. Patel's distraction, a loud mower. Chaos ensued. Tow trucks shredded their own tires. Hale shoved Mrs. Patel. I intervened, dropping him with a precise punch. Neighbors cheered. That evening, at the emergency meeting, we projected evidence, emails, logs, the planting video. Sirens wailed. Arrests followed. Voss, Lang, Hale, Marco, all charged with conspiracy. The ordinance repealed, fines refunded. Sunset Ridge breathed free. Justice sometimes requires pushing back. The victory at the HOA meeting felt like a dam breaking, but the flood that followed was messier than I'd anticipated. In the weeks after the arrests, Sunset Ridge Estates transformed from a tense suburb into a buzzing hive of activity. News crews camped out, lawyers swarming, and neighbors finally speaking up. Elena Voss, handcuffed and humiliated, tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, but the evidence was airtight. The state attorney general's office took over, labeling it racketeering. Maria and I became reluctant heroes. Sophia even got teased at school as the kid whose dad took down the bad guys, but Hale's vendetta didn't end with cuffs. From jail, he whispered threats through mutual contacts, hinting at unfinished business. I beefed up home security, more cams, motion lights, and kept my service weapon close. One evening, as the desert sun dipped low, painting the sky in fiery oranges, I got a call from an unknown number. "You think you've won, Rivera?" "Watch your back." Click. Paranoia set in. Maria noticed my edginess, suggesting we take a weekend away, but I couldn't. The class action suit, led by Mrs. Patel, was gaining traction, with dozens of residents sharing stories of harassment, towed cars for excessive pollen, fines for holiday lights a day late. We uncovered more. Voss owned shares in Marco's impound, and Lang had funneled county funds to her for community improvements. It was a web of greed. I dove deeper, visiting former employees. One, a disgruntled tow driver, spilled, "They targeted newcomers, single parents, easy marks who paid up quick." Armed with affidavits, we pushed the AG, but corruption fought back. My sergeant called me in. "Rivera, there's chatter about an internal review on you. Excessive force in that punch." Hale's allies were pulling strings. I lawyered up, using body cam footage to counter. Nights blurred into strategy sessions with Maria, poring over documents under kitchen light. Sophia drew pictures of Daddy the hero, but I worried about her safety. Then escalation. Our mailbox stuffed with anonymous letters, photos of Sophia at school. "Back off or else!" Rage surged, but I channeled it. We traced the IP on drone footage to Voss's office. Presented to the AG, it sealed more warrants. Raids on Marco's yard revealed hidden compartments in towed cars, stolen goods fenced. The racket was bigger, identity theft from glove boxes sold on the dark web. Hale, it turned out, was the muscle, planting evidence to discredit complainers. One victim, a single mom, lost her job after a drug bust frame. Her testimony broke hearts in court. As trials loomed, pressure mounted. Lang flipped, testifying against Voss for a plea. "She promised me a cut," he admitted. Voss's defense crumbled. Hale, facing 10-15 years, tried a desperate move, a jailhouse interview claiming I framed him. Media frenzy ensued, but our video held. Neighbors rallied, petitions supporting me. The sweep's chaos replayed in my mind. The spike flip, Hale's fall. It symbolized resistance. Finally, verdicts. Voss got 8 years, asset forfeiture stripping her empire. Lang resigned, fined heavily. Marco's business shuttered. Hale drew 12 years. Restitution flowed, thousands back to victims. Sunset Ridge reformed. New HOA board, transparent rules, no private security. Mrs. Patel became president, planting community gardens where spotlights once glared. Maria and I took that weekend away, driving Route 89 under stars. Sophia laughed freely. The desert felt vast again, not threatening. I learned systems fail when good people stay silent. Pushing back isn't just for cops, it's for anyone with a stake in justice. Quiet returned, but vigilance remained. My truck, dent and all, sat proud in the driveway, a reminder that sometimes the fight finds you, and you end it on your terms. Rebuilding after the storm wasn't easy. Scars lingered like dust after a haboob. Sunset Ridge pulsed with newfound energy. Block parties replaced compliance checks. Kids biked without fear of clipboard-wielding enforcers. But for me, the aftermath brought introspection. I'd always seen the badge as a shield, but this mess showed it could be a target too. Maria urged therapy. "You've been carrying this alone," she said. Sessions helped unpack the betrayal. Hale's face haunting dreams that planted Baggy a symbol of vulnerability. Sophia, resilient kid, asked questions. "Why were they mean, Dad?" Explaining corruption to an 8-year-old tested me. "Some people want power more than fairness," I said. She nodded, drawing superheroes battling HOA monsters. Community healed through action. We formed a watchdog group, reviewing ordinances, ensuring transparency. Mrs. Patel led with fire, turning the clubhouse into a hub for classes, not interrogations. One evening, a former victim shared, "They towed my car during chemo. I paid to avoid stress. Stories bonded us." Media spotlight faded, but lessons stuck. I returned to patrol, sharper, mentoring rookies on spotting corruption. Trust your gut, I'd say. Hale's appeals dragged, but evidence held. A surprise. An anonymous tip led to uncovering Voss's offshore accounts, adding money laundering charges. The AG praised our role. "Civilians like you make the difference." Maria's paralegal skills shone, helping file suits. We won a settlement for harassment, enough for Sophia's college fund. Nights we'd sit on the porch, watching fireflies dance in the cooling air. The drone's buzz echoed in memory, but now silence soothed. Neighbors waved, gratitude in eyes. Mrs. Patel, hosted barbecues, her garden blooming defiantly. I fixed the truck's dent, but left a scratch as a badge of honor. Driving Route 89 felt liberating again. One day, pulling over a speeder, I reflected, justice isn't always sirens and cuffs. Sometimes it's quiet persistence, evidence stacked like dominoes. The experience changed me, less naive, more empathetic. Maria and I grew closer, her research our secret weapon. Sophia thrived, joining a neighborhood club. Sunset Ridge became a model community, featured in articles on HOA reform. Bills passed statewide, limiting private enforcement. Hale's final appeal failed. He rotted in prison. Voss lost everything, a cautionary tale. Lang faded into obscurity. Marco's yard became a public lot. Peace settled, but I stayed vigilant. The desert taught resilience. Storms pass, but preparation endures. My story spread, inspiring others to challenge bullies. In the end, it's not about winning alone. It's about ensuring no one else loses. Family, community, justice, intertwined. As stars wheeled overhead, I felt grateful. The nightmare ended, but the fight for fairness, eternal. With the core villains behind bars, loose ends demanded time. Rumors swirled of a copycat operation in neighboring counties, similar ordinances, same predatory tactics. The AG tasked me as a consultant, drawing on my experience. Maria joined, her legal acumen invaluable. We traveled, auditing HOAs, uncovering mini-empires. One in Mesa mirrored ours, fake cops, boots on highways. We posed undercover, gathering intel. A tense night stakeout revealed planting ops. Busts followed, networks dismantled. Back home, Sunset Ridge flourished. Sophia's school project on community heroes featured us. Embarrassing but heartwarming. Mrs. Patel organized reforms, banning aesthetic fines. I mentored her son, aspiring cop. Hale's prison letters arrived, threats veiled as apologies. Ignored them. Security tight. A breakthrough. Forensic accounting traced funds to a larger syndicate, involving state reps. Testified in hearings exposing rot. Media dubbed me the HOA buster. Humbling. Maria worried about exposure, but we balanced with family time, desert hikes, stargazing. The truck became a symbol. Neighbors joked about its battle scars, repaired it fully but kept the dash cam. Reflections deepened. Power corrupts when unchecked. My off-duty carry became habit. Community bonds strengthened, potlucks, watch programs. One scare, a suspicious vehicle tailing us. Confronted. Turned out harmless. Paranoia lingered but faded. Victories piled. Class actions nationwide, reforms passed. Voss's appeal denied. Hale transferred far away. Peace solidified. Sophia grew confident, Maria proud. I patrolled with purpose, knowing one man's stand rippled outward. The story wasn't just mine. It was ours. Justice prevailed. One exposed secret at a time years later. Looking back, the ordeal shaped us indelibly. Sunset Ridge stands as a beacon of reformed governance, with annual audits and resident veto power. Maria advanced to attorney, specializing in consumer rights. Sophia, now teen, volunteers against corruption. I retired from patrol, consulting full-time, training forces on ethical enforcement. Hale paroled early but monitored. He vanished quietly. Voss wrote a regretful memoir from prison. Lang passed unnoticed. The desert blooms anew each spring, reminding renewal follows strife. Our family thrives, scars badges of resilience. The story endures, a testament that ordinary folks armed with truth can topple tyrants. Justice ultimately is a collective triumph.